Oh, let's get back to this. All right, y'all. Let's kick this off. We got the U.S. Rugby Women's Olympic team selections having been made, and I think this is probably one of the best rosters that we've seen in the three Olympics that we've had. But I think it's a very, very high potential, and I think for the first time we have like a legitimate balance of new and old. But yo, we got to talk about how they revealed this because this was legit fire. I don't always give a lot of credit to USA Rugby. I'm not gonna lie. I don't give a whole lot of credit. We know they make a lot of mistakes. They've definitely jacked up a lot of things that are under their belt. But this rollout, I think, is as good as any rollout it could be. And I really, really am gonna put it on the men to see if they're gonna be able to live up to the standard because yo, they got their asses handed to them on this one if they don't do something with it. But yo, check this baby out. Check this baby out. Hold on. All right, there we go.
The Olympics. Some would say an American dream that's out of this world. I'm NASA astronaut Jessica Watkins. Astronauts are a lot like athletes, always striving to be the best versions of ourselves for our team. I couldn't be prouder to introduce to you this team. Pride of Alaska, making her third Olympic appearance, Alev Kelter, one of the youngest to make an Eagles debut and now a veteran on the field. Kayla Kinect, to protect the pitch and the earth she plays on, none other than Elena Olsen. You've laughed with her, you've cried with her, you've watched her dominate the rugby pitch. Ilona Mar. From D1 college basketball to the Olympic Games on the rugby pitch, Steph Ravetti. You know her as Spin. Alex Cedric. Fast, agile, smart. Did we say fast? Ariana Ramsey. San Diego, stand up. Sarah Levy going to the Olympics. Finding rugby only a few years ago, she's the Olympic dream personified. Christy Hershey. Honored and decorated, U.S. Army captain and rugby enforcer Sammy Sullivan. A leader, a veteran, a legend. Chris Thomas. The enforcer and Montana's own Nicole Haverland. Oh, captain, my captain. Three-time Olympian and OG Lauren Doyle, one of the best to ever step out on the rugby pitch. Tri-champion and co-captain Naya Tapper. Doesn't get any better than this. USA! This is the Olympics. It's time for launch. See you in Paris.
Yo, I mean, honestly, like you can't even get mad at that. That was a roll. That is what you want as a U.S. citizen, as a U.S. fan. That is what we are owed as far as a rollout. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, we still need to get a performance out of this. We still need to see an end game from this. But my goodness, like that got chills for me because I'm ready. The Olympics has always been, I think, the best presentation that we've had of rugby on a stage that everybody gives a crap about. Like, it is the one where you actually make the changes. And as a U.S. person, I feel like we failed significantly each time when it's come to that. And so just to feel like, okay, we got something to lead into, we got something to scale into. Oh, we can do something with this. I'm excited to see what is going to end up happening. But I want to talk about this roster a little bit here because I do think that this has been a pretty balanced roster, especially compared to what we had from the 2020-2021 Olympics, where we saw probably one of the, I guess, oldest rosters that we had compared to everybody else. Yo, giving out to Abel Rose, like that was, I know, right? That mug was awesome. Like, it was absolutely legit. Shout out to USA Rugby Media, you know, for them putting this together. Maybe the USA Olympic team, you know, USA people too. But whatever it is, I'm giving credit where credit is due. But I do feel like this, where Emily Bidwell has put together a roster that I feel has a better chance of being competitive than we were in 2021, because I think despite the fact that we have a bunch of repeats, and shout out and sadness to some of the people that we lost on this that weren't able to make it, that we'll talk about in a moment. But you know, it does balance it out. bringing in veterans. We got Nia Tapper. Shout out to Nia, friend of the show, and friend overall, who was able to get captainship. She's been killing it for the last 3 years as a captain through the HSBC sevens tournament, and being able to get co-captain with this alongside Lauren Doyle, massive deal. And I do think this is a position that she absolutely can absolutely kill. Obviously HSBC sevens, they finished out 4th, so it's not out of the range of possibility for us to be able to medal at least in something in this rugby tournament. But bringing in like those that balance of Nia Tapper, Lauren Doyle, Nicole Haverland, Alec Kelter, great. But what I think hurt us last time was that we had a lot of people who were aged up. A lot of people who were aged up and were not able to have great follow through, to say the least, when we went up against more athletic teams and just younger teams, namely Great Britain, Australia, and the likes like that. Abel Rosa goes, yo, men's sevens will have to get Matt Damon just to top that. Yeah. Hey man, Ben Affleck's available too, man. Don't knock him out the side. Man needs a distraction from all his relationship stuff. But I feel like we've gotten a better aspect. We got new blood that's like Ariana Ramsey, young. We got Sammy Sullivan, young. We got Spiff Cedric, absolutely. And it allows us now to be able to have some people who can continue to play past a certain level. And I do feel like there's a few that I really wanted to touch on, because for the last few years, Alev Kelter has been probably the premier element on this. And I absolutely think that she's going to actually end up being on the side. Impactful, but she's not the most impactful that we could have on this one. And I want to talk about the 4 players that I really think are going to make the biggest difference for the women's team to be able to have a chance at getting medaled and hopefully getting a gold. Because, I'm saying medaled because right now we still got our, what do we call it? Our weakness against New Zealand and Australia, namely Australia. I do feel like we have stuff to match at this time, but we got to be able to see. Now, before I get into those 4, we got to talk about the people who did not make it, who were part of the Olympics in part of the Olympics in Japan for the 2020-2021 that didn't make it. Cheta Emba, another friend of the show, unfortunately was not able to make it, which is sad, just considering that this would have been her 3rd one and her 2nd full time, but unfortunately it wasn't possible. Jordan Matthias, who's always played great at 8-man on the 15s team, and I think she got a little bit more exposed as a forward for sevens. Not that she wasn't a talented player, absolutely talented, but again, getting older, plus not able to make the adjustments. Nia Tolliver, who I thought honestly had the chance to make it. I do think that she might be a little bit on the older side, but I thought she would have had a chance to make it. Casey McCravey, no idea, and Nana Favasi, who basically retired. She retired. That's not a big deal on that one at all. But it allows us to be able to see a little bit more of what we could do. Again, the Cheta Emba one actually hurts my heart, because I really love seeing her at forward center. So hopefully we get a chance to talk to her a little bit about that and help us guide through this a little bit more. But let's go to the 4 players that I absolutely do believe are going to make the biggest difference for the women's teams and this. And we've seen this through the HSBC Sevens tournament, but again, that is a sampling, and Olympics is a different mindset. And with the addition of the Great Britain team, that also always adds another caveat to this all. So the players that I believe have the largest impact on this women's team, and not to take away from anything, rugby is a team sport. I get it. But you have impact players. All right, you got impact players. What can I say? All right. So obviously, first off, top and foremost, Nia Tapper. All right, Nia Tapper is literally, if not arguably, the best USA women's rugby player, or at least USA women's sevens player of all time. I would argue that she could be on the 15s. We've seen her do it, but her focus has been on sevens primarily. She's done good on the 15 side, but I would say Nia is definitely number one on this one because as captain, she's going to have to be guiding this so well. All right. She's got the experience. She's been on back-to-back Olympic teams. She technically should have been able to make it in 2016, got into situations, got her head right afterwards. Not a big deal. And she was young at that point too, so it didn't matter. But, you know, you've been in this she's been a part of this team for almost a decade now. She is as veteran as you can get and still being able to be an impact player. I think last year we saw a little bit of a reduction in her speed, but we know her for her power. I think from not last year, the 2020-2021 team, I think Pat Clifton said it first with NCR, and if you guys don't remember, he used to be with Rugby Mag and stuff like that. He said it best. We had a team that was full of running backs and tight ends, but we were lacking in wide receivers, meaning we had a lot of power players who were able to make great short-term plays, but would wear down overall over time, but more importantly, didn't have the breakaway. And we kind of thought Nia had that breakaway. I don't know, not to say that she's not able to, but I think her power has now come better in her tackling and in wearing down defenses. And then if given the opportunity, she can get the cutaway and take it away as anybody else. Not taking away her athleticism, just take it away. But her leadership ability, I think, is what is going to be the biggest factor on this. And her athleticism is going to end up being a wear down for other teams. Next, we've got Ilyona Mar. And now, Ilyona Mar, 2020-2021 was the beginning of the fame of Ilyona Mar. And for the last 4 years, from a marketing and social media standpoint, she has been top to bottom, probably the most exposed rugby person in the world. All right. I'm saying more so than Charlotte Caslick, even though Charlotte probably has way more sponsorships, but that's Australia. Exposed more than Portia Woodman Wycliffe, exposed more than Emily Scarrett, who's just coming back. Like, she has been the most imaged since the 2020-2021 Olympics. But that being said, you cannot take away her impact, because a lot of people would think fame is also a detractor from effort on the field. And a lot of this offense really runs around the fact that Ilyona Mar can take in 2-3 people. She's very similar to what Danny Barrett used to do for the men's side all those years. And she still is absolutely able to make an impact from that prop center side. I think, though, it's going to really, her focus, I hope this year, is less on the TikTok, because obviously it's not COVID, which was a big advantage. There's, not going to be probably as much downtime. They're probably going to have to be doing more external press releasing. But even if she does do a bunch of TikTok stuff, I know her focus is going to be on what's happening on the field. And against teams like New Zealand and Australia, who are absolutely going to be gunning in and really going to be able to show their full athleticism. I'm talking about New Zealand. I'm talking about Australia. And Fiji. Let's not underestimate them. I really do believe that her factor is going to come in. Don't worry, Abel Rose. I'm going to get to you to answer your questions in a second, but no worries on that. Next, Kayla Kinnett at fly half. We saw it in the video. Now, Lauren Doyle at co-captain is the fly half, but I think Kayla Kinnett is actually where the future stands. I think she is faster. I think she's a better tackler. Obviously, she is younger. I think she has less wear and tear on her, but her experience level is sky high. All right. She's been to this. She's done this. And I think that she is much more of a magic maker. But at fly half especially, it's going to be really necessary, because trying to take advantage of the edges are going to be huge. All right. When you got Sammy Sullivan, even though she's coming off a prop hooker position, Sammy Sullivan is a walking 15, 20 meter runner. All right, she's going to be a crash and go into your try zone. You got Alev Kelter, who's going to be a second half demon. All right, you need to make sure you get her on the edge. You got what's her name? Cedric on the coming off the edges alongside Ariana Ramsey, who we'll talk a little bit more about, who absolutely Spiff Cedric, who absolutely need to be able to get the ball. They absolutely need to get the ball. And the only way you can do that is to be absolutely keyed in. Absolutely keyed in. And I feel like Kayla Kinnett is probably going to be the best fly half for this, especially in the knockout stages, however that is going to end up going. And then lastly, the player that is coming back with experience, I think in the 2020-2021 Olympics, she was fresh. All right. She wasn't playing that great. We saw the potential, but she was fresh coming into that. 4 years later, her experience has gone up. That's Ariana Ramsey. She's probably the youngest on the team right now, but I truly believe that we finally have a breakaway player. The other one is Spiff Cedric coming off from center, but I do think she's going to be battling a little bit with Alev Kelter on that, whether that should be or not. But Ariana Ramsey is probably one of the best closers that USA Rugby has. All right, USA Rugby women have. Her tackling has improved. She's still small. She's still like more of a, I'm going to get my body in the way so that everybody else can come and tackle. But I do truly believe that she is going to be the difference maker, because when we had like the last one, I'm always going to go back to what 2020 and 2021 was. F the HSBC sevens. Like that is just practice for the Olympics. Whenever we went up against a Great Britain and Jasmine Joyce with her small, quick, ridiculously fast self was gashing us all throughout. We had no responsive answer for that. We had nobody who could just go and cut dimes to be able to get in for a long try. With Ariana Ramsey, I do believe that we have that finally. And then, like I said, I keep also mentioning Spiff Cedric. She has the breakaway speed as well. She absolutely has the breakaway speed. I do still believe Ariana Ramsey is where it's going to be at. And with Nia, I know she's listed at wing. Nia's going to be playing much more center style than she's going to be playing pure wing. 100%. You cannot use all that strength and all that power and just keep it on the edge without using it to maneuver people around, just by the way that the team plays. Like that's what. And again, when you're going up against Charlotte Caslick, you're going against Madison for Australia. These are Australia. It's Australia who we really need to be able to worry about. This is what we need to be able to break this off and take this out all the way through. Abel Rosa said on one thing, I only said Matt because he's the only celebrity that has done rugby movie stuff. The Departed, University Scene, and of course Invincible. I think it's called. I think you're thinking of Forever Strong. And with Morgan Freeman as Mandela. Obviously, yeah. And it's not Invincible. It's the oh my God, I don't know why. Don't you hate it whenever you're like on the spot and you're just like, wait, what is it? Goodness, this is shameful. Invictus. There we go. It's Invictus. I get it. But yeah, man, we can't take away from who else? Dude who did Forever Strong as well. Like he did. I mean, don't get me wrong. He doesn't have the same, gusto of a name, but he got it some. We got to give him his credit. Also, Abel was saying, you think Ileana will be in the upcoming women's league? I feel like her huge social media might be a benefit for the league. I hope so. Obviously, the women's league is more 15s. So the decision is going to really be based off of the fact of, one, will Ileana want to move from 7s to 15s for short periods of time, which I would love because I want her to play with the 15 side. I want our super squad back for the Rugby World Cup. I don't feel like it's going to happen, but I would want her side for the Rugby World Cup. Number two, yeah, I do feel like her social media would work, though I feel like her social media is far better in, while it is women empowerment, and the irony of what I'm saying is that I do feel like with the women's league, their promotability is, yes, women's empowerment, but they have storylines that I think are going to be more necessary to show. And I think with Ileana Mar's side, I mean, if she plays and balls out, it might work. But I don't feel like her audience is going to travel over to the women's side directly, unless she's somehow doing a behind the scenes or really breaking down what it is that they're going to be doing, like really breaking down like the women's league and the day-to-day that goes along with it. And she didn't really do that much with the women's seven sides. Of course, a few. Actually, honestly, of all the people, Ariana Ramsey is one who's getting increased following on social media, and probably does the most of all of them in terms of social media posting, I think, and most creative ones as well too. And Nia Tapper as well. Like, everybody's kind of putting their thing together. So honestly, with this Olympics, if they do well on the pitch, everything that we've been working for, that they've been working for, that we've been hoping for as a rugby community in the U.S., I think will finally be a great turnover. I feel like they will get the celebrity that they are just due. But we have to medal. We have to medal. All right. This is both men and women's, but for the women, they have to medal. No fourth place, no fifth place, no coming. It's either silver or bronze. And honestly, it's really silver or gold because we're the US. Silver or gold. So that's where I'm going with it. Yo, let me know what you guys think. You know, what was your thoughts whenever they announced the USA Women's Olympic Rugby side for the Olympics? We're still going to be waiting for the other ones. I think Ireland put theirs out, but I'm going to wait before we get until we get more teams dropping in before I go ahead and talk about the other rosters that are going to be coming in, because with that is going to make a huge deal on whether or not our matchups are going to all end up turning out. And I really hope that we get a great one. But of course, we still got a repechage that we still got to get done beforehand.
Buckwheat is changing lives. My name is GiftTime. I'm here with Health Enhanced Foods, and I want to tell you about one of my favorite products on our shelves, buckwheat baking mix. Buckwheat is a seed that is incredibly nutrient and protein dense. But what makes it even more important, that buckwheat baking mix is absolutely gluten-free. A lot of times whenever people have buckwheat mixes, they actually even hold wheat inside of it. So you know it's not fully gluten. And if you're a person that is celiac or diabetic, or you're just really trying to be health conscious, it's not something that you want to have to worry about. What makes our buckwheat baking mix even more important is that it is versatile. You can use it for pancakes, you can use it for waffles, you can use it for making loaves of bread, you can make it for cupcakes. But what helps even more is that it is allergen free, it is nut free, it is dairy free, that there is no additional additives in it. There's no leavening there, so that if you want to be able to raise your bread, you can put in the baking powder yourself and get it fluffy. If you don't, you absolutely do not have to. You get the bread that you love without the cost to your health. You can absolutely find buckwheat baking mix at healthenhancedfoods.com. Absolutely check it out. Get your nostalgia back. Get back to eating and loving the way that you are, and absolutely get back to the energy that you know that you can get without having to destroy yourself. I'm looking forward to seeing you get it. Let's go.